Today's editing dynamic memory allocation, the last topic in fourth unit. So, what is dynamic memory allocation? See, earlier in arrays concept, I said it is a static array. Whatever you given size for the array, for example, array of 5 elements, so that the array, for example, integer AR of 5. So AR is a integer array. The array capacity is 5, and it is fixed and it is static, not dynamic. It is fixed. So if it is fixed, whenever I am giving 5 elements, it is fine. But if I am giving less than 5 elements, but I given only 3 elements to the AR array, that means 2 elements space is wasted. And in other case, the maximum capacity of this array is 5 elements, but I want to store 10 more elements, but you can only store 5 elements into the array and you have to ignore other 5 elements. So this is the disadvantage regarding static memory allocation for this array concept. What is the two disadvantages? First one is, if you store the elements less than 5, memory is wasted. If you want to store more than 5 elements, you cannot store. So that disadvantage. So we are using the concept dynamic memory allocation. By using this concept, we can allocate the memory in dynamic way. That means whenever the program is running according to your requirement, on the spot you can give the you can allocate the memory for the elements. So if you are going to give 5 elements, only allocate the memory for 5 elements. If you are giving 3 elements, so that 3 elements only memory is allocated. If it is 10 elements, so the memory is allocated for 10 elements. According to your requirement, the size is fixed dynamically when program is executing instead of static manner. The first point you write down, the size of array you declared initially can be insufficient and sometimes more than required. What is the first point? The size of an array we declared initially can be insufficient. Sometimes the capacity is insufficient, sometimes more than insufficient. These are two disadvantages regarding the static memory allocation. Till now, whatever we have dealt with the arrays concept, that is regarding static memory allocation. So when you are going for static memory allocation, the size is fixed. So if the size is 5 elements, exactly you are able to store 5 elements. So if you store less than 5 elements, the space is wasted out. If you want to store more than 5 elements, then you need more memory, but you cannot change the 5 space because it is static. But you can fix the size of the array, or you can allocate the size for elements whenever the program is executing dynamically in dynamic memory allocation. Second point, dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation allows a program to obtain more memory space while running or release space when no space is required. When you use dynamic memory allocation, that dynamic memory allocation allows a program to obtain more memory space while running. That means whenever you require more memory space, you can initialize the more memory space instantly when program is executing dynamically. Or if you want to release, or if you want to decrease the space allocated to the elements, also you can decrease or you can release the space when no space is required. That means you can adjust the memory for elements when program is running according to your requirements when you use the dynamic memory allocation. The last point you write down, there are four library functions. There are four library functions under stdlib.h, for dynamic memory allocation. For dynamic memory allocation, the first one is malloc function, mmalloc function. Second one is calloc function. Third one is free function, and the fourth one is realloc function. These four functions we are using for allocating the memory dynamically. Dynamic means when program is running. So dynamic memory allocation will be possible if you use a malloc. That means mmalloc, calloc, and free and realloc functions, which are present in stdlib.h. First, we start with mmalloc function. The first point under mmalloc function is it stands for memory allocation. It stands for memory allocation. Second point is that I want to write the syntax for it. The syntax for this particular function is, we have to write the function name mmalloc. Inside this, it will take for how many elements you are going to allocate memory dynamically. That count we have to write in the form of byte. So number of byte size we have to write. Number of byte size we have to write. So it will take that number. For example, if it is 5, that 5 bytes of memory is allocated, and the pointer to the first byte is returned to the left side in the form of void pointer. Void pointer means no pointer. That means that pointer belongs to nothing. That pointer is not belongs to integer pointer, character pointer, float pointer, or any other pointer. It is simply a void pointer which belongs to nothing. So that void pointer we can cast into, that means we can convert into any type. Here we have to write into which type of pointer you are going to convert, that cast type, and that will be written to the again left side. After conversion, that void pointer, if you converted into pointer, then that pointer integer pointer is left to the written to the left again. So that we will hold with one integer pointer ptr. Same thing we will write one more time, whatever we discussed under syntax. It reserves the a block of memory, a block of memory, it reserves a block of memory with size, with size of byte size, with size of byte size, whatever you given here, that byte size. For example, if the byte size is given 5, it reserves the block of memory for that 5 bytes. And it returns, a void pointer, a void pointer, a void pointer to the first byte, which can be converted into any other type, which can be converted into any other type. That means you can convert into the void pointer into the integer type pointer, into character type pointer, or into any other type pointers you can convert. So see, observe here, when you are using the malloc function, it reserves a block of memory with the size of the byte size. How many bytes of memory it will allocate dynamically, that depends upon the size, byte size you given. When you give 5, it will allocate 5 bytes of memory as a one block, and first byte, the pointer to the first byte will be returned. The pointer, which pointer? The void pointer to the first byte address is returned to the left side, and that void pointer you can convert into any other type, because the pointer returned is void. That means it does not belongs to any other type. It is nothing. It is just a pointer. When void pointer to the first byte address is written to this left side, you can write in which type pointer you are going to convert. You can write here, if you want to convert that void pointer into integer, in this cast type we are going to write int, so that void pointer will convert into or cast into integer type. If you want to convert that void pointer into character type, we have to write here character. After conversion of that void pointer into integer pointer or character pointer, then that pointer is again written to the left side. That we will hold with one more integer type or character type pointer here. The last point you write down regarding the malloc function. If unable to allocate memory, then the malloc function returns null. For example, it is failed to create a block of memory, then it returns simply a null to the this particular pointer. When pointer is holding null, we can understand that the memory is not allocated. Then one simple example you write down based upon the syntax. PTR equal to, for integer I am talking about, and I am using the malloc function. I want to allocate space for 5 elements, and each element will take 2 bytes of memory, because the those 5 elements are integer type. So size of, so I'm not going to give here 2, because each element is occupying 2 bytes, because the all 5 elements belongs to integer. If the all 5 elements are character elements, then each will take one byte of memory. 5 multiplied with one byte, 5 bytes are enough for character elements. But these 5 elements are belongs to the integer, and for each element 2 bytes, totally 10 bytes of memory we required to store the 5 elements. But in some what we can say, in on some operating systems and in some compilers, the integer will take 2 bytes. In other compilers it will take 4 bytes. You don't know whether your compiler is considering 2 bytes or 4 bytes. So instead of you writing 2, you use the size of operator, and inside that you will calculate how many bytes this particular computer is considering. You will decide with the size of operator. If this computer is considering integer like 2 bytes, so that 2 bytes multiplied with this 5, totally 10 bytes of memory is created, and the void pointer to the first byte out of that 10 bytes, the void pointer which is pointing to the first byte address, that void pointer is returned here, and that void pointer I am converting into integer type pointer. After converting into the integer pointer, that will be assigned to PTR. Now PTR is pointing to the starting address of the 10 bytes of memory. When you know the starting address of the 10 bytes of memory, we can easily access all the 10 bytes. We can easily access all the 5 elements. So this is the example, and go for the calloc function. Write down first point. It stands for it stands for it stands for contiguous memory. The abbreviation for calloc function is contiguous allocation. Contiguous allocation is the abbreviation for calloc function. And what is the syntax for it? The syntax for calloc function is, it follows same like malloc function, but with a little bit modifications are there. PTR equal to same like malloc function, and cast type we have to write, and pointer representation, followed by calloc function, and here we have to give how many elements you are going to allocate the memory dynamically. You have to give, and each element size, each element, for example 5 elements are there. In 5 elements, each element will occupy how many bytes. That element size we have to write as a second argument, element size. For example, the number of elements are 5 and each element size is 2. Then 5 multiplied with 2, 10 bytes of memory is allocated, and void pointer to the first byte address is returned here, and you can convert into other pointers, same like malloc function. But what is the difference between malloc and calloc function? So only one big difference is there. The only one difference between malloc function and calloc function is that malloc function allocates single that malloc function allocates single block of memory whereas the calloc function CLOC function allocates multiple blocks of memory. Multiple blocks of memory. What is the difference between malloc function and the CLOC function? Malloc function allocates the memory for elements. How it will allocate? A single block of memory is allocated in case of malloc function. When coming to the CLOC function, the name itself, it is suggesting how the memory is allocated. Contiguous. Contiguous means one after the other. That means multiple blocks. For first element, one block, and immediately continuously next to it, one more block. So if the number of elements are five contiguous blocks of memory is allocated in the case of CLOC. In case of malloc, for 5 elements continuously, that only one single block of memory, one single 10 bytes of memory is allocated in the case of malloc. In CLOC, multiple blocks. So 5 elements, 5 multiple blocks are created. Each block will have 2 bytes of memory. So that is the biggest difference between CLOC and malloc, except everything is same regarding malloc function and CLOC function. And after allocating the memory, the malloc, like malloc function, CLOC function also, CLOC function returns the void pointer to the first byte address. First byte address, and that pointer, which can be converted into any other type, which can be cast into, or which can be casted into any other type. Like you can convert that void pointer into integer pointer, character pointer, or any other pointer. If you are allocating memory for integers, then you can convert that void pointer into integer type. So here you can observe the syntax, what it will do. First, what is the difference between CLOC function and malloc function? CLOC function will allocate multiple blocks of memory contiguously, and malloc function will allocate single block of memory, except everything is same. So CLOC function will take the number of elements and each element size, and it allocates the multiple block of memory, and it returns the void pointer pointing to the first byte address in that block, and that pointer is returned to the left side, and that pointer, void pointer, we can convert into the integer or character type pointers, and after conversion again that pointer is returned to the this left side. And the last point is, if this CLOC function is unable to create the block of memory, multiple block of memory, then the CLOC function will also return null pointer on failure. Failure means if it is unable to create the block of memory, if it is unable to allocate a dynamic memory allocation, then it will return null pointer. It returns null on failure. If it is unable to create memory, when it is failed, it will return null. The last one I want to discuss, free function. What is free function? Simply I will elaborate what is a free function. it is used to deallocate. Deallocate means remove the memory. Allocate means allocating memory. Deallocating means removing the memory which is already allocated. So it is used to deallocate the memory allocated by malloc function and calloc function. By using malloc and calloc functions, we can allocate the memory dynamically. And whenever memory is allocated, after using that memory, we have to deallocate. So for deallocation, free function is used. And what is the syntax? The syntax is free. Inside this, it will take only one argument, that is the pointer of malloc or calloc function. That pointer it will take ptr, and the memory associated with this pointer is deallocated. Now, with this memory, malloc and calloc functions, we will write one program. We will create the block of memory for 5 integers, and for that 5 integers, we will give some elements into that memory which is created by these functions, and we will sum them. For example, 5 blocks of memory is allocated for 5 elements. Into that 5, we will give 5 elements and we will add each element, so that you write one program. Write a program to find sum of n elements entered by user and use the dynamic memory allocation. So we have to create some integers and we have to add sum of all the integers, and in this program we have to use the dynamic memory allocation for storing all those elements. So start writing the program with the void main. Write down one get ch, and here I am creating integer type n, where n represents the number of elements. For how many elements you are going to allocate memory dynamically, that n I am going to create. After creating the after allocating the memory for n elements, that malloc or calloc function will return one pointer. To hold that pointer, I am creating one integer type pointer here. Whenever the memory is allocated for 5 elements, to store the 5 elements into those memories, I will use one for loop. That for loop will repeat 5 times. So when it is repeating 5 times, I will read 5 elements. For that for loop variable, I am taking I. And after storing the 5 elements, I will read the 5 elements in the same for loop, and I will store it into, I will sum all the elements and I will store it into sum. For that storing the result of sum, I am creating the variable sum. And after declaring all the variables, write down CLR SCR. And first we have to know, to allocate the memory dynamically, we have to know for how many bytes we are allocating. So n we have to know. Ask the user to enter n value, double quotation, enter number of elements. For how many number of elements you are going to allocate memory dynamically, that number you ask the user. Whenever user is entering 5 elements or 6 elements, you capture that integer 5 or 6 with the scanf by using integer representation %d, comma, that number of elements you can store it into address of n. Now n will be 5. So for 5 elements we are going to allocate the memory dynamically. So you know for how many elements you are going to allocate the memory, you know, just use the malloc function. Inside this we have to give for how many elements we are going to allocate the memory for n number of elements where n is 5. And for each element it will take 2 bytes. So use the size of operator and calculate how many bytes it will occupy for each integer. So for each integer 2 bytes we are considering, and totally 5 elements. 5 elements will take 2 bytes of memory. So 5 2s are 10. Each element will occupy 2 bytes of memory. So 5 2s are 10. 10 bytes of memory is allocated. 10 bytes of single block of memory is allocated, and first byte address void pointer is written to the left side. That void pointer I am converting into integer type pointer. Why? Because we are going to deal with integer element storing only. And after converting that void pointer into integer type pointer, and again that integer type pointer written to the left side, that I will hold with the integer type pointer which is created here, ptr, which is integer pointer. Now ptr is pointing to starting first element out of 5 elements. First element address ptr is pointing. When ptr is pointing first element address, you can read the element into first element. And after reading first element, if you want to go to the second element address, just write down ptr plus 1. It will go to the second element. To go to the third element, ptr plus 2, ptr plus 3, ptr plus 4, like that. You can point to the next element addresses. Now, the memory is allocated for 5 elements. Before storing the integer elements into the that 5 elements memory, just to check whether really memory is occupied or not with the if condition. How to check? If it is unable to create the memory dynamically, it returns one null to the ptr. When ptr equal to null, then you can simply print one message. When ptr equal to null, that means the memory is not created. You print one error message, error unable to create, memory. Like that, you print one error message and close the program with exit 0 function. Exit 0. Then what will happen? If ptr equal to null, on the monitor error message is printed. Next, immediately exit 0 function will execute and program is terminated immediately, because if the memory is not allocated, we cannot go further. If ptr equal to not null, these two statements are not executed, and now you come to the next statement. And now here into that memory, into that 10 bytes of memory allocated by malloc function, you retrieve some elements and store into the memory. How to retrieve? And ask the user first, because you allocated memory for 5 integer elements dynamically, and ask the user to enter 5 elements into the 5 memory locations. Printf \n enter elements, 5 integer elements. Whenever user is entering 5 integer elements, you repeat the for loop for 5 times, starting with I equal to 0 and I must be less than the n. So n value is 5. 0 to less than 5 means less than 4. So 0 to 4, 5 iterations. Every time I plus plus. Each time you will use the scanf for 5 iterations. 5 integer values you capture percentile D. first time you, whenever the for loop is iterating for the first time, first integer is captured and you will store it into first address, which is represented with ptr plus I. I means the first time I value variable is 0. ptr plus 0 means same address. That means into the first address, first value will go. When I variable is incremented to 1, ptr plus 1 means the ptr is now pointing to second element. Into the second integer element, you retrieve second value and store it into the second element. When I variable is incremented from 1 to 2, ptr plus 2, now it is pointing to third integer element address. Into that third integer element address, you store third integer value. When I variable is incremented from 2 to 3, then ptr plus 3, now it is pointing to fourth element address. Into fourth element address, you can store fourth element, read from scanf, and you can store it into fourth element address. Whenever I variable is incremented from 4 to 5, 5 less than 5, the condition is false and the loop is terminated. By that time, starting with 0 to 4, 5 elements, integer elements are read by using scanf. Whenever you are reading each element, first time you are reading one element and storing into ptr plus of 0. Into the first address, you are storing first element. And immediately when you store element into first address, that element you immediately add to sum plus ptr plus of I. That first element you add, but ptr plus I means you are representing the address. You don't represent the address, you represent the value at that address and add to the sum equal to sum plus I, and initially the sum value is equal to 0. Second time, second element is stored into second address. That second element you retrieve from that address and add to the earlier sum. And third element you store it into third third element address, and immediately you retrieve the same element and add to the sum. And fourth element also you can store it into the fourth element address, immediately retrieve that element at fourth address and add to the earlier sum. Last fifth element address, you can store fifth element, and that same element which is stored at fifth element address you retrieve by using star and add to the earlier sum. So sum of all the integers also completed, and whenever I variable is equal to 5, the loop is going to be terminated. By that time, into the 5 memory locations, integer locations, 5 elements are stored and all 5 elements are retrieved and added to sum. Now if you print sum of all the 5 elements will be printed. After for loop, you write down one printf statement to print the sum. Printf the sum of all the elements equal to percentile D and replace it with sum. Now you press the Alt F9 and see for the errors. So what is null? So you simply skip that null, and here you add some std lib.h hash include std lib.h, because all those memory allocation functions present in lib.h only. So null will be also represented in the same library. Now you press Ctrl F9, enter for how many elements you are going to enter memory. For 5 elements, enter first element 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The sum of all the 5 elements is 15, right? So same program I am modifying and I am using the Kellogg function. I am using the CLOC function. Here instead of you write down M, C you write down, so it will become a CLOC function. Earlier we written program on malloc function. Now we are going to write the program on CLOC function. Only the difference is Here multiple blocks of memory allocated in CLOC function. In MLOC function, single block. In CLOC function, it will take two arguments, number of elements, and for each element, how many bytes of memory is allocated. Only this much difference is enough. This program is for CLOC function. Again, you press Alt F9, Control F9, and enter for how many elements you are going to create the dynamic memory allocation for 5 elements. The first element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So sum of all the elements 1 to 5 is 15. So same program we modified for CLOC function also. In the next session, we are going to discuss the last function, realloc. Before that, we used a malloc function, CLOC function also. After printing the sum of all the integer values, the memory is not required. The memory allocated by using CLOC and malloc functions are not required. How to release that memory which is allocated by malloc and CLOC functions? Use the free. It will take only one single pointer variable PTR. That PTR, the memory associated with this PTR variable, whatever the memory you created, that memory is associated with PTR only. So whatever the memory, 10 bytes of memory associated with this pointer, that pointer memory is freed. Total memory is deallocated. Now you press Alt F9. You see no difference, but memory will be deallocated. Alt F9, Control F9. How many elements? 5 elements. 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5, and enter the sum of all the elements. After printing sum of all the elements equal to 15, this last statement will be executed. Then the memory allocated for 5 elements, 10 bytes of memory is deallocated. Everything is deleted when you use the free PTR. With this, we completed the example for malloc function and CLOC function, and free pointer PTR function also completed. Only we left with one function, that is a realloc. The reason beyond using the realloc function is I allocated space for 5 elements. Whenever program is executing, I need to allocate memory for 3 more elements or 4 more elements. So I cannot use the malloc function. If you use the malloc function again, the earlier memory will be released and new memory will be occupied. So instead of that, already whatever the memory you created for 5 elements using the malloc, for the continuation of that 5 elements memory only, I wanted to allocate the space for 3 more elements by using the realloc. So that is the concept behind it. So when you go through the program, you will understand. So the definition for realloc is it is used to reallocate the memory already allocated by malloc and CLOC functions. So syntax is, the syntax is realloc function. It will take the pointer which is created memory by using malloc and CLOC functions. Whenever it will create any memory, it returns the pointer to that particular memory. That pointer we will take here. The memory associated with this pointer, for that memory only, for that memory, in addition to that memory associated with PTR, we are going to allocate memory for the other 3 elements or 4 elements. So here we have to write the number of elements. Number of elements. Number of elements. So for this PTR, already PTR memory is created by using malloc and CLOC. For example, in earlier program, by using malloc function for 5 elements, we created some memory, and pointer to that memory is returned, that we captured with the PTR. Now PTR is having some memory. for 5 elements, and we need to have the memory for other 3 elements also. That number we have to give here, number of elements, that number we have to give here. When you give here 3, that for that 3 elements, additionally 6 bytes of memory. Why? Because it is a integer type elements we are talking about. So if you give here 3, each element will take 2 bytes of memory. 3 multiplied with 2, automatically it will calculate for 3 integer elements how many bytes it will take. It will calculate, and the result is 6. And 6 bytes of memory is added to already existing memory of PTR. Already whatever the memory you have in the PTR, the memory associated with PTR, for that memory only, additionally 6 bytes of memory is added. That means for 3 elements, extra space is created and added to the PTR only. That means we are reallocating the memory which is already allocated by malloc and cloc functions. And if you have any doubts, that will be rectified in the program. And write a program by using the realloc function. Example program. Example program on realloc function. Start writing. First we have to write the void main, and here we are using the function realloc and malloc functions which are present in stdlib.h. So include that header file also before writing the void main. stdlib.h. Then start writing the void main. Get ch and create some integer variables. First one is n. That means these many elements only, initially I am going to create some memory. When memory is created by malloc and cloc functions, it will return some pointer, integer type pointer, that I will capture with ptr, integer type pointer ptr. And whenever I am printing some addresses of memory, I will use for loop. For that for loop, I am writing the variable for loop variable I. These many variables are enough. And after declaring all the variables, write down CLR SCR. And now we have to know for how many elements we are going to allocate the memory. So that is represented with N1, first size. So ask the user to enter how many elements, for how many elements he is going to allocate the memory dynamically. Enter size of elements, or enter number of elements. So for how many elements you are going to allocate the memory dynamically by using malloc and cloc functions, you will enter here. Whenever user is entering 5 elements or 6 elements, then you capture that number of elements with scanf with percentile D and store that number 5 into the address of N1. Now N1 is 5. That means for 5 integer elements, we are going to allocate the single block of memory by using a malloc function. Now you know for how many elements you want to allocate the memory dynamically. For how many elements? For n1 elements. What is the value of n1? 5. So for 5 elements, we have to allocate the memory dynamically by using a malloc function. I am using here a malloc function. Inside this, we have to write the n1, number of elements, and each element will take 2 bytes because it is a integer. So how to know how many bytes it will take for integer? Use the size of operator. Inside that you write down integer. Size of operator will return the how much bytes are allocated for integer. In some computers it will take 2, integer will take 2. In other computers it will take 4. I am considering in this computer 2 bytes, for example. and the 2 bytes, that number 2 is written by size of operator, and n1 multiplied with n1. What is n1? 5. 5 multiplied with that 2, that means each element will take 2 bytes, because all elements are integer type. So 5 multiplied with 2, 10 bytes of memory is created. Single block of 10 bytes of memory is created by using malloc function, and the void pointer to the first byte address out of 10 bytes is written to the left side. That void pointer I am converting into integer type pointer, because we are storing the integer elements only into the 10 bytes of memory. So convert into the integer type. The void pointer returned to the left side is converted into integer type, and that after the conversion of the void pointer into integer, that integer pointer is returned to the left side again. That we will hold with ptr. Now ptr is pointing to the starting element address of out of 5 elements. So it is pointing first element address out of 5 elements. And how to go to the next element address? PTR plus 1. How to go to the third element address? PTR plus 2. Like that we can represent the each element starting address. Now the memory is created, and you can also check with the if condition if memory is really allocated or not. If PTR equal to, if PTR equal to double equal to null, then what we can understand, the memory is not allocated. Then print some error message, printf error. Error in what? Error in creating some memory. Error you can print and exit from program by using the function exit 0. Why we are exiting from the program? Because memory is not created for 5 elements. When memory is not created, we cannot store anything into the memory. We cannot go further in the program. So simply printing that user has to know what is happened. User has to know what is happened, so that we are printing error, so that user can understand, okay, memory is not created and program is terminated. Like that you will understand. If memory is really created into the PTR, the integer pointer will go instead of null. Then PTR equal to null, false. Then this block of code which belongs to if condition is skipped. Then we will go to the next statement after the if condition. Now you print the all the memory addresses. We wanted to know the addresses. Really for 5 elements, the memory is allocated or not. If really for 5 elements, 2 bytes of memory is allocated, then for each byte, one address will be given. That address we are going to print by using the PTR, because PTR is holding the first address of the first element out of 5 elements. So start the for loop and repeat it for 5 times, because to print the 5 element addresses, we need to repeat the for loop for 5 times, starting with 0 and less than the size of number of elements n1. 0 to 4 5 times, and I plus plus. Every time, how to print the first element address for the first iteration? Whenever you are printing any addresses, use the percentile u and backslash t, comma, PTR means the first element address. And how to print next element address? PTR plus 1. How to print next element address? PTR plus 2, PTR plus 3, PTR plus 4, the last element address. Instead of you changing the numbers from 0 to 4, just to write down I variable. PTR plus 0, first element address is printed. PTR plus 1, second element address. PTR plus 2, third element. PTR plus 3, fourth element. PTR plus 4, fifth element address. PTR plus 5. That means whenever I variable is equal to 0, I variable equal to 5, 5 less than 5, condition false. That means only 0 to 4. When it is 0 to 4, all the element addresses starting with the first element to last element are printed in the place of percentile u for every iteration of the for loop. When you write here, if you write here star, then instead of addresses, each element each value, each element value at the address is printed. But we don't want to print the element values. We want to print the element addresses. If memory is allocated for each element, 2 bytes are allocated. Now we are going to check is really 2 bytes are allocated for 5 elements on the monitor, and put it in the comment except all other things, and remove the comment here. Right, come to the program, just uncomment the program, alt F9, 00 errors, control F9, and now for how many elements? For 5 elements. See, first element address is 1860 and 61 for first element, 62 and 63 for second element, 1864 and 65 for third element, 66 and 67 for fourth element, 68 and 69, those last 68 69 bytes are allocated for last element. 60 and 61, 2 bytes are first element, first integer element, 62 and 63 for second integer element, 64 and 65 bytes are allocated for third integer element, 66 and 67 element, the address is allocated for a fourth element, 66, 68 and 69 bytes of 2 bytes of memory is allocated for a fifth element. So for 5 elements, 2 bytes are allocated and addresses are printed on the monitor. Now printf and ask the user here and ask him to enter the new size, and that means for how many extra elements you are going to add for that 5 elements. Capture that element, scanf with the percentile D, and user is entering, for example, 3. Store that 3. That means you are already allocated for 5 elements, and now you are going to allocate the memory for 3 more elements. So that the whatever the new size 3, you capture with scanf and store it into address of n2, where n2 is a second size. But n2 variable is not declared, only n1 is declared. You declare n2 integer variable also. Into n2 you can store 3. Now you know the for how many extra elements you are going to add, that number also you captured into n2. You know this for how many elements you are going to add extra space also, you know. So now by using that extra size, again use the malloc function, realloc function. Instead of using malloc function, use the realloc function. Realloc for continuation of these 5 elements associated with this PTR. PTR is holding the addresses of 5 elements. It is storing 5 elements, or the 5 elements size is associated with PTR. For that continuation of the 5 element sizes of PTR only, I am adding the 3 more element size. So instead of writing 3, you write down n2. n2 means 3. So for 3 more integer elements, each element will take 2 bytes. So 3 multiplied with 2, 6 bytes of additional memory is created and added to already existing 10 bytes of memory. That means for 5 elements, again 3 element space is created, 5 plus 3, totally now for 8 elements the memory is created. Now if you print on the monitor the total addresses, including 5 and 3, 8 element addresses will be printed in addition to the earlier. How to print? How you printed here, in the same way you print addresses. For loop, starting with I equal to 0, and how many times we are going to repeat the for loop? 8 times, because earlier 5 plus now 3, 8 element addresses we have to print. So repeat the for loop for 8 times. I must be less than the size of n1 plus n2, earlier size and the new size. So 5 plus 3 less than 8, 0 to 7, 8 times, semicolon. Now you press I plus plus. Every time, whenever loop is iterating for 8 times, 0 to 7, 8 times. For each iteration, you print one element address by using printf. How to print percentile u, percentile u. After printing each element address, you take one tab space. And how to print the first element address? PTR plus of I. First time PTR plus 0, first element address is printed. PTR plus 1, second element. PTR plus 2, third element. Like this. PTR plus the 7, that means 8. The last element, 8th element address is printed. So PTR plus 0 means first element, PTR plus 1 means second element address, PTR plus 2 means third element address. Like that, all the elements up to 8 elements addresses are printed here. And for each printing, we are making some tab space. Press Alt F9, Control F9, enter number of elements. So initially I am giving 5. So for 5 elements, initial address is printed. 86 and 87 2 bytes are for a first element, 88 and 89 for a second element, 90 and 91 for third element, 92 and 93 for a fourth element, 94 and 95, that last 94 and 95 for a fifth element. In addition to that 5 elements, I want to add 3 more elements. So you see, for 3 more elements, extra space is created and added to the earlier space. So see, 86 and 87 for first element, 88 and 89 for second element, 90 and 91 for the third element, and 92 and 93 for fourth element, 94 and 95 for fifth element, 96 and 97 for sixth element, 98 and the 99 for a seventh element, and 1900 and 1901 for the last eighth element. So for continuation of the earlier memories only we allocated, because you see up to fifth element addresses, everything is the same when you compare with the previous memories allocated for those 5 elements. So 86 and 86 matching. So for that continuation of the earlier memories only, we are adding from the 96. So that means for already existing memory only, we are reallocating the memory with the 3 elements. With this, we completed the concept for reallocation also. Right? So fourth unit is completed. Tomorrow we will start fifth unit.